A wonderful good day, a wonderful good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. My name is Gaby Burt. I'm Managing Director for The Journey. And this is my kind of, not weekly, but as often as possible, real talk where I bring special guests to talk about the amazing healing power that The Journey brings. And today I have a really, really very special guest. I actually, because of COVID, because of the limitation on traveling, we haven't seen each other for I think 3 years now. But Shauli La Paz is one of our practitioners. He lives in Israel, but being a journey, having gone through the practitioner program is the small part. He's actually the owner of 3 medical centers in Israel. And I want to talk to him about some of the work that he's doing here. So first of all, let me bring Shauli into the room and say, hello, Shauli. Thank you so much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to see you and so grateful you could make the time. And my introduction was very, very short, but I want to tell my side of it, first of all, because quite a few years ago, you were so excited to be sharing. You showed us around a rehabilitation wing on one of your medical centers or hospitals. And it was on the top floor and it was absolutely unique. It completely changed. The energy changed. The furniture changed. The colors changed. And so if people had a serious issue, and then the very first program was for people with heart disease who had an operation, could then undergo a week-long rehabilitation. And you wanted to prove to insurance company that it would save them money by actually letting people undergo this program and paying for it. So that was, I'm winding the camera back. God, how many years? 7, 8 years now, I think. And it has moved on. And so I'm absolutely delighted. We had a little time to speak before we came on. I had some research documentation from you a few weeks ago, but this program has moved on and is now not just heart disease, strokes. It includes accidents and surgery. It includes people with cancer, and it includes fibromyalgia. And what I didn't know is that you succeeded in getting insurance companies to actually pay for this service because the results are so amazing. So Shauli, I just wanted to hear from you, because this rehabilitation program, the journey is a part of that. So people clearing the root cause of an illness to clear something, as well as having a beautiful environment, as well as having healthy nutrition and some other form of healing during their week. But the journey, I believe, is a profound method that is used on the people who come out of a serious treatment. So I'm just going to hand over to you, because you know much more than I do. And I just want to be inspired, because sometimes things go on in the world. And you spoke, we just had 5 minutes before, but you told me that you've had thousands of people through that program already. So yeah. I'm blown away. So I'm behind the curve. Over to you, mister.
Wow. Thanks. It's great to see you and to meet the journey again. Actually, we use the journey all the time. And I think that one of the most profound thing about the journey, that it had changed my life. And through that, it helped me to change and help others through the journey process, to clear out my issue and to see what's really important for me, and how I bring myself to this world and really allow something which is even bigger than me, bigger than my wishes, bigger than my desires, to occur through my doing, through my being. And that's all to do with my journey work with you guys. And I think that everything that happened to me in my life, and with the hospitals and to thousands of people around Israel, and it's going to be even bigger now, is is through this transformational work that I did with you guys, and that's how I think we uncover ourselves and really open up to our destiny, open up to our essence, and from there the root opens, you know. And what I can share with you guys about my rehabilitation center, and I mean, we've already, let's say, we've already took care of more than 10,000 people undergo this and went through this rehabilitation week, holistic rehabilitation center. And what we discovered, I say, I mean, we already knew it before we started, but it's just now with numbers. I mean, we knew it. I mean, Brandon is speaking about this all the time. But what we really see is that the illness, the disease, I mean, there's so much to do with our own story, with our own drama, with our own feelings. And when you learn about physiology, when you learn about the stress management and the physiology, you can really see how emotions really affects the heart, and how the heart then affects the brain, and how the brain affects the nervous system and affects the hormone system. And this, let's say, this feeling or this emotion that doesn't go away because it wasn't resolved really creates a physical reality in the body. It's not a, it's really, now it's scientifically proved. It's not something that we, but I think the only, that's actually in my farm, that's one of the donkeys. Sorry about this noise behind. We have horses and donkeys, so sometimes they participate in the interview.
A donkey, I was wondering.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in Greece you have some, right?
Oh,
You have
sure,
donkeys, yeah.
sure.
So anyway, what I was saying, the disease in the end is, even if you look at the name disease, you would see this is, that means that you're in some sort of stress. There's no easiness. There is something in your being which is disturbed, and it's been disturbed for a long time because it wasn't resolved. And we know that the main issues why we are being disturbed, or why our being is being disturbed, is because of emotional trauma. It's because of an event that occurred to us in our lives, and we carry this event with us, and we never really go to the bottom of it, and we carry a lot of observation and perceptions, and also attitude and ego types that protect us from these emotions outbursts that we feel. And this is really changes our physiology. I mean, it really changes our physiology. And I can see now, working in the medical field with a lot of cancer patients, a lot of fibromyalgia patients, a lot of all kind of patients, let's say, how much the story, which is a real story, it's not just a story that we make up, it's a real story, it's a real pain, it's real pain stored inside our body, how much it really affects our health. And how, when we really manage to resolve this with ourselves and come to terms with what happened to us, and the main thing is to forgive and reframe the whole event in our being, and learn how to develop from what happened to us, and not fall into the misery of what happened to us, and learn how to discover again our being through this. That really releases us from all this biochemistry that's going on in our body. And the stories of recoveries are amazing. I mean, we have miracles going on. There's so many stories of people that really even recovered completely from stage 4 cancer, and they did a very thorough process. And I think I've learned quite a few methods of therapeutic methods, but I think that the journey, I must say, to be able to go to this emotional root cause that you carry inside yourself, and to really bring it up, and walk with whatever is there and be able to if let it go, forgive, and even develop from whatever is there for you. I think it's such a game changer, and I think it's the key for a new being. I mean, it's like a being that was really a very, very shrunk, very sad, very tightened, and it opens you up to your freedom. And I can keep on talking about this forever because
Can I just interject a little bit here, Shauli, because and I'm just humbled and awed by your words, and very grateful, because we don't hear it often enough. You know, we're kind of sometimes a little bit in a bubble. We see it all the time, we hear it all the time, but Brandon's journey work, as it was developed, I think she kind of went public with it, or on stage with it, 28 years ago. Her book was published, the book The Journey was published in 1999. And we have offered seminars around the world to teach the tools that the journey is. And what you say, it was very interesting, because for me to come across the journey was also quite an interesting shortcut, because I was studying as a homeopath in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I was just finished, and I went to a mind body expo in London, and I heard a speaker, and I felt like at that time, I felt like I would need to read 1,000 books to figure out which way I need to go, what I need to do. And somehow I had a shortcut, because the guy I was listening to said, oh, by the way, he said, in a few months' time, Deepak Chopra is coming to London. Go and, he's a good guy. I mean, we're talking about 95 or something. He said, he's a good guy, listen to him. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go and listen to Deepak Chopra. And I went to him, and in this was a 3-day or a weekend seminar, I can't remember, but there was something I heard that he said. A lot of what he said went over my head, but something that he said was that if we want to grow into a mature age healthily and happily, it needs 2 things. And the first thing is the ability to open into an infinite intelligence, a wisdom, and Brandon calls it source. You know what I'm speaking of, a presence that is much, much larger than I am, you are, a presence that is all inclusive, everything. Number 1. And number 2, in doing so, we can uncover cell memories that are kind of locked inside of our cells. And if we can clear these cell memories out, then the next cell generation can replicate freshly and newly. So otherwise it just carries it forward. A cell dies and it has a programming or a memory in it. And when that cell dies and a new cell is born, it just carries on the same program. Well, what he said was there is a way to interrupt it, but he didn't say how. He didn't have a something that you could do in order to do that. And then it was a few months, and I thought, great, that's, to me, if we are able to do that, it seems that we have found the Holy Grail. We have found the Holy Grail to grow healthily, happily into old age. Hallelujah. But there wasn't a method. There wasn't anything. And then I think it was about 6 or 7 months later, after having tried the Ayurvedic way and the this and the that, nothing worked. I was a busy businesswoman at that time also, so my head was full. And then I get this message from Brandon, because I was on somebody's mailing list. And she says that she's giving a talk, but in her description, she says, you know, in my seminar, you find a way that you can access this infinite intelligence. On day one, you access or become aware of who you truly are, this infinite intelligence. And on day two, you learn another process where you can clear out cell memories that have been stored in your cells and are no longer serving you. And I thought, well, if she knows how to do that, then that's crazy. Why, you know, the whole world needs to do that. So that was my story. And I went to Brandon and I was absolutely blown away because everything that I understood and heard prior to meeting Brandon, she kind of created a method. And that method is what people have used through Journeywork. Through her book has been sold, I don't know, over 1 million times. We've seen thousands and thousands of people through our seminars around the world. And then when I hear your story, Shauli, it just, I'm just, there's just happiness here. There is just joy here because, you know, we're trying to figure out how can we let people know how important it is to do this work for everyone. It's not just people who are ill, but what if you could prevent illness? What if you don't have to go that route?
We do that also now. We have
Good. Tell me
actually,
about that.
yeah. We have, well, there's a lot of progress going on now with the preventive medicine. I mean, we had groups for preventive medicine, and also we started a very important work with organizations, and we work with the big corporations, and we somehow managed to explain the biggest corporations in Israel that exactly like a human being, they also, as an organization, they have their body, mind, soul as well. And when people inside the organization, they are stressed out because they have emotional problems or things that occurred in their life which are unresolved, the whole thing doesn't work. And we created this app that measures the emotional stress level of the whole organization, of all the participants in the organization. And then we register them into this intervention course that teaches them both the journeys and other things to manage their stress and really open up. And then we create a new essence inside the organization. It's very revolutionary because there's a very big corporation that's already registered 5 factories actually that we start now. Wow. with this new way, and we really monitor the emotional, the cooperation emotional stress level, and we see how it changes through this monitoring. We monitor the change through questionnaires and technology, and we can see that we can actually measure the change. We have now technology that measures stress. There's technology, like there is a sensor that is called inner balance that measures the HRV in the heart, and it's the stress measurement and how much we're in stress or not. And we can see that through the journeys and through work how we change our HRV. I mean, we really can see, we can really measure the stress factor inside the body through the HRV. And when you learn about the science of the heart, what I just did now with HeartMath, I've learned also about the science of the heart and the emotional. They also say, what Brandon is saying, that the emotional stress is the key. It's the key for your essence. I mean, the golden key to open up to your spirit and to release your body from distress is the emotional key. And that's what causes the most of the distress. Like we all know that, because say if you do yoga every day and if you drink green shakes and you do everything great, and you can drive your car, and suddenly you get a phone call from, I don't know, from a hospital saying that, I don't know, your spouse or I don't know, something happened in the hospital, and there is a big distress, and suddenly within seconds your physiology swap. It's like you feel there's powerless, everything changes in the body, and there's a shock that comes in, and it's and and there is a real physical process that is going on when the emotional trauma gets in. And there is the emotional, the initiative emotional trauma that comes in and create this shock, and also the aftermath of this. Yeah. And what you see usually in disease, when I use in the rehabilitation, that nobody works on the aftermath. I mean, the disease itself, cancer, is like it's an event that changes your life, and it really it's like telling you that there's an atomic bomb that is going to blow the world, and this is what you deal with, and no one is dealing with the aftermath, the waves of emotions that are coming up for you, the anxiety, the fear, and what happens in the body. I mean, you get so weak, and you can't lift yourself from the bed because of all the cortisol that is getting released in the body. When you have those vibrations of fear and anxiety inside your body, and as long as you don't resolve this, you would keep on you would keep on being really suppressed, and everything won't really heal. I mean, unless you really work on the emotional trauma, yeah, the chance of true healing is very low. You could sustain yourself with medicine,
yeah,
but
which
it's
a
chemical
lot
that is outside the body to balance whatever is happening inside your body. But there's no real healing from within. There's no balance from within. And what I don't know if it's interesting, but I can tell you that what I see after years of really exploring this, how this really how it is taking like physical form. It's not just talking about emotions. It's not this. It's really the essence of our being. Is whether we can stay healthy or not. It's the key is the emotions, and whether you can resolve it or not. And I can tell you that we have inside this body, we have like two energy system, I would say. Like we have the energy of the body, and the energy of the body, I say the spirit of the body, the energy of the body wants to survive. That's why we eat. That's why we sleep. It wants to survive. And when the energy of the body is being jeopardized or under risk, the energy of the body would blow, it would be like an explosion inside, because you really, and once that happens, there would be like the body would, it's like disaster control. Everything is survival, and the amygdala and places in your brain would work only on that, and your blood would only go to certain places, and everything would change. And you have also your spiritual energy, and the body is the manifestation, it's the factory, and your spirit is your essence. It's what you need to do. It's like I call it, this is the architect, and that's the factory that creates it. Yeah. The body is creating. So here the manifestation, we have our womb, we have our digestion, everything that's the factory itself. And here we have the ideas and the vision and the essence is here. But when the factory has problems, there's no room for there's no room for the spiritual room. There's no place for that. It won't even open up. We call it cortex inhibition. The channels in your brain won't even open up to your intuition and to your ideas and to your vision, to your essence. You will be only occupied with this problem. Everything would just be there. It's like you have a flat tire, you can't drive, And that's it. That's what you need to deal with. It's flat towers. You can't go on until you fix the flat tower. So this is all blocked. So people can't really, let's say, they can't live their dream. They can't be who they are supposed to be in this world when they are blocked. And they physically can be, because the brain won't even open up to those places. It would be blocked. And the only place that would work is how to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And when you use the journey process, I mean, it's such a genius process because it found the how to do it. As you said, there is a way to open this emotional root cause, to switch the tire, and to let ourselves flow. And even when you do that way, when you open to it's a shortcut to your spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, when you
It's
open
coming
up,
home. Yeah.
yeah, and also in the brain, what would happen is a cortex facilitation. Then you would really open up. It's like this vessel could really open up to the energy of your essence only when you solve your problems. And before that, it's impossible for the body to do it. So the genius of the journey is a key to open up, to really solve the problem, and then after that, and it really creates a space where you can really get attached again with who you are.
Yeah.
And really, and that's what happened to me in my life. I mean, with the journey. I mean, this is my story. That's everybody's story that is doing the journey. Everyone that takes the journey and takes all the courses of the journey, that's what they do. I mean, they resolve the problems, they open up to their essence, they open up to the spirits, and then they bring themselves to the world as they should, as that they live a full life, a life full of love, a life full of meaningfulness, life full of compassion, empathy, and whatever is there for them to bring to this world. And it's really a magic key. I can say
It is. So, Shauli, you said earlier when we started, you said you see we've moved from rehabilitation to prevention, which is fantastic. I've got a couple of questions for you, but one I wanted to ask you is have you got, I know we're talking about us, our own experiences, but is there any miracle you feel like you would like to share here, just for those who are a little bit more new and haven't heard so much about what is possible and how healing can happen? And you've said so much, you said it so beautifully and so eloquently. I think it should give everybody the hope to know that this key is available for each and everyone, and that we can unlock the door, that we can unlock the blocks and the blockages and connect to this infinite intelligence, to spirit, to source, to this infinite and boundless love that we're speaking of, and from where all of healing is possible. That is my simple belief, and that is what I have seen for the 25 years that I've been around Brandon, you know.
There are a lot of miracles, but I must say to people, we have to, we shouldn't shut the door of believing, because I see it in the medical field when I speak to doctors, a lot of skepticism. And when I speak to them, I said, well, if one person in the world managed to do it, that's enough. That means that there's a way.
Yeah.
So, of course, he did it. If he did it, there's a way to do it. So we just have to find a way. So don't close the door. Don't close the door, because sometimes healing can happen and you're closing the door for healing. You closing by not believing, by not trusting, by being afraid. And I think the fear is of disappointment, the fear of whatever the fear is. You need to explore that field. But a lot of times what I see, that people are their own a door closing, you know, they close their own doors by not believing, by not trusting. So I always say to people, you know, it's only up to you and God, and we don't know God's plan. So don't close the door to God, don't close the door to yourself. Leave everything open. Just trust and go. We are on this journey and we don't know. But we shouldn't come with any ideas, pre-ideas about how it's supposed to be, because this is what limits us. This is our limitations. That's the limits. So I enjoy speaking about people who did it, because just to open the consciousness for the possibility that it can happen. And and leave the door open. And I would also say that when a person comes to me and he says, wow, there is this person that I've heard that recovered from cancer, if I will do this process, will I be recovered? Will I recover? Will I be healthy? And I say to them, when you have this thought of that you're doing something for something, it's already limitation. You need to be in full acceptance with open doors and just allow yourself to be in the moment, and whatever will come your way will come your way. And just by being like that, you remove the stress from the body, because the stress is from, will I figure it out? Will I not figure it out? Will it be a good result? Will it be a bad result? And that's the stress. And by allowing ourselves to be in the unknown zone, okay, we don't know. And we really don't know. It's just an illusion that we know something.
Yeah. Yeah.
We never know anything. So when, we all live and die, and we don't know when and how and what we will meet on the way. It's all a big surprise. It's nothing that we really, everything that really meaningful that happened to us wasn't planned. Not our husband, not our kids, not the diseases that we'll meet, when we'll die, what work will we work in. It all happens to us in the way. And so we really don't plan it in advance, and we can't plan it.
You can't.
You can't plan it. So allow yourself to be there, open, and this is what takes the stress away. But still, I do mention stories of recovery, because I think we should remove the skepticism, but still not being not attached to the healing story, because it's a possibility. We are an open book. So this is what I try to explain. I hope people get this, but it's really important for our stress issues, because I see a lot of stories of stress that I do it right, I do it wrong, I went to the alternative medicine, I went to this medicine, will it work, will it not work? No matter, you stress yourself out. Shh. Just come back, sit here, and stay what's here now. Fear, let's deal with the fear. Let's, as Brandon said, let's release all the tension, all the layers of emotion that are here now, to open to the source. It's really undressing yourself from everything that limits you to become what you want. So this is the way to recover, I see. But I can tell you a story. I'll share a story about, there was this guy that came to us about 3 months ago, and he had a very big cancer in his leg, and his leg was, he was about to undergo an operation that would cut off his leg because of that cancer. And he came to us to get ready for the operation, okay? And he was
so the operation was the amputation of the leg?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And that was supposed to happen. And he came for us, and the story that was there, the emotional story, it's a story about a person that his father left the house when he was 3 years old, and he left and lived somewhere else, and neglected him. And he was born also with a small problem, and he always thought that the father left him because it's his blame. He's to blame
His
for
fault,
his father.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is his fault. And when he was later on, when he was 18, he was looking for his dad, and he and his father didn't want any connection with him, and that was another downfall for him. And he was always ashamed about himself, and about there was a big shame there. And after the third day of the process in our hospital, he came to us and he says, "I'm proud of who I am, and I love myself, and I love who I am, and it's okay if people came and people go. It's okay. It's their life. They choose to do what they choose to do, but I'm complete. I feel myself to be complete." And he had such an inner strength, of who he is, and he got connected to his essence and spirit, and he felt so full and embraced. And he went home, and he spoke to his kids and his wife, and he told them about the transformation and the change, that he's no longer ashamed about what happened to him. He's no longer ashamed about his body, and he feels himself to be complete and whole again. And then he came to that operation. I learned about this only 3 months after, because his wife called me. And they were about to amputate his leg, because and his wife insisted, said, "Listen, something very big had happened, and we want you to take another MRI on the leg to check about the cancer just before you take the leg out." And they said, "We don't allow this, because we already saw, we have the results. It's a very expensive medical observer, like to do the MRI is expensive."
Yeah.
But she insisted, and she really insisted anyway. In the end, they did the MRI, and there was nothing. It disappeared after 3 weeks. Disappeared. The cancer disappeared, and they only did the very small surgery just to suck the end of it, but there was nothing, and they didn't cut his leg, and it was out, and in 3 weeks, and it was just his own spirit, his own essence, that wasn't crippled anymore. He was crippled in his essence,
In his
what he
mind.
saw. In his mind, he was crippled, and because of that, people didn't want him, I think. And after this change, he was no longer, he was full, he was complete. So there was no need to be crippled anymore. So,
Wow.
so it went away. And 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 I think this story shows us that what we see ourselves to be, if we imagine ourselves to be a small, crippled, unworthy, it would show up as an energy in the body. I mean, we become what we illustrate in our mind. We become this. And really, the body takes form. The body takes form to this energy. I mean, it's like it's like a sculpture.
It's a manifestation.
Manifestation of that energy. And when there is a shift in the energy, and there's a shift in what you believe yourself to be, that you are everything, that everything is whole, and you are in God's hand, there is a shift in the body. The body changes. I mean, it draws another picture. And it's every time I see it, I'm like on off, like about this creation, about whatever is going on here. But it's really amazing to see those people that when they change themselves from within, they change the energy of what they believe they are or what they believe they become. Something changes in the body. It's like it follows, the body follows. And this is like when we see experiments, when there is like a vibration, and you put sand on a plate that vibrates, or you put water on under sound, and you see how the water and how the sand arranges itself according to the vibration. So we have this inner vibration, that all our physical being is getting a range sorted according to the vibration of what's here now. So when the vibration changes, the drawing of the sense changes,
Yeah.
the water changes.
Yeah.
So this inner vibration has so much to do with our emotions, of our feel, of what we believe we are, and who we are in this world through the traumas. So this is what creates everything and uncreates it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
Yes.
that's
Thank you for putting it so scientifically perfect, you know? It's beautiful to hear it in that way and to actually bring spirituality and science together as one, you know, as you know, as you call the body the factory and the spirit. It is in a way, you know, and so I said I had two more questions. So the first question was you've answered, and thank you so much for sharing this beautiful story. My goodness, I mean, you know, what about the comparison of the price of a leg and an MRI scan? It doesn't even compute, you know, what it does to us. And huge congratulations and gratitude for something like that, for a miracle like that. My next question and final question for today, Shauli, is when are you bursting through the borders of Israel and steam forth to let the rest of the world find out what's possible? And you know, one of my passions in life has always been to shout this from the rooftop, that it's possible, that healing at that level is possible, that we can connect. You know, once I came to the very, very first journey intensive, I had such a powerful awakening. I came away from that and I thought, everybody needs this. We need to shout this from the rooftops. And here I am 25 years later, and I don't have a medical center, but I'm thrilled that we're connected to people like you who are shouting loud in the right voices, because I always feel like the people who need to hear it from people who have the right voice, who have the right education, who have the background, the backing of everything that can sustain such beautiful methodology and therapies that you are doing with the rehabilitation, with the prevention, you know. So all of this is happening in Israel, and I'm hearing thousands of people are benefiting from what you do. When are you bursting out of Israel?
um,
Your English is pretty good. Very good. Excellent, in fact.
thank you. Um, fair, I don't know, as you know, we don't know, but I think I can say something about what I've been dealing in the last 3 weeks. That's something in my inner process that I can share it with you with this question. I think also I heard Brandon speak about it, but now I went through it, I think, what she was speaking about, and I heard it before. And I feel that there is something which is like a bigger, like this bigger energy that arranges everything. And there is my own wish list, right? I want it to be out there. And yeah. And sometimes I saw inside myself that when I was dealing with the wish list, really wanted to bring it out like this with all my force and energy. What happened was, to me, in my own journey, is that I was listening to the voice, which is the power of will, instead of being with what's here now. It's like it moved me from
Yeah.
what I wanted to be to listen to what's here now. And when I when I came more present to what's here now, in this presence, like the shift, it's like God takes it from here, right? It's like you say, I'm living the will and God takes it from here. So the shift that happens when I become more present, the shift is much on in a much bigger scale that I've even imagined it to be.
Imagine.
Like I couldn't even imagine how God would work on that, you know. And the way it takes forward is amazing. And the key for me, I would say, that's what I found out, is to become more present and just to all the time be here with what's here now. And miracles happen with people I meet, interviews that I'm taking like now, and it's just, you know, the connections are happening. And I'm sure that this, what Brandon is doing, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what Deepak Chopra is doing, is all dots of light in this universe. You know, awakening is happening, and there is the big stream of this awakening that goes on, and the dots are like, and it has, it's a process, as everything. It's a process. It's people. Even God Himself, when He created the world, it took 7 days to create it. He didn't do it like this, and that's God. So we need to learn about this, and the process is for us to really give time to the emotion, to listen to the emotions, listen to the fear, be with what's here now. And when we really are present with what's here now, we can really heal ourselves and heal the world. So I'm trying to become more present, and with this presence, I feel that doors are opening in the sky,
Yeah.
without effortless doors.
Yes.
That what the energy that needs to shifts through me being present. It's much more effective than me trying something. So
Yeah.
I had Brendan is saying it so many times, but I'm going through this now.
Thank you for reminding me now. You know, I'm standing here red faced, and it's like, yes, I know, I know all this. So,
Yeah.
but just in case. But you do have a beautiful research document that is being published, and for anyone listening here, or for anyone who is hearing this conversation, we will be sharing that with our community as well, as and when it's available. And then I think when something like that, a document that shows such huge success rate, that I'm not going to share it here now because it takes us into something else again, but it's just a research where information is collected of what difference it makes to have rehabilitation, to have this aftercare, and what a huge difference it makes in people's lives. And I didn't know about the high number of people that are going through your rehabilitation program, Shauli. So I'm kind of astounded, and I'm really, really looking forward to hear more from you, and perhaps we can just, without a public interview, just sit across in Zoom, or perhaps jump over to Israel and have a chat, cup of tea or something like that, and just reconnect. You know, it's been, COVID has kind of this created it hasn't created a distance at all, but we've been seeing each other regularly every year when Brandon would come and offer seminars in Israel. And since we haven't done that, we haven't seen each other. So there is nearly 3 years now. I think November this year, November 19 was the last time I've been in Israel. And I miss you guys.
The horses are still waiting for you.
I'm coming soon.
Thank you very much.
I'm coming. Thank you so much, Shauli, for joining me today. It was a real pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again soon, person to person. And I hope that this interview was inspiring to many. So thank you. And if for anyone here who is curious about Journeywork, we have the craziest deal ever. We are offering a 3-day journey intensive where you learn these tools that we've been talking about now for 97 euros. It's never been done before, but because we can do it online, and we have a prayer for the journey to be in every household, that's why we're doing it. So please come and join us. We have the next one on this kind of time zone at the end of this month. We still have some places left. They're going like hotcakes at that price, but please come and join us, and let's all help together to make a difference, because it starts with us. It starts here. It starts with everyone, and then we can live our passion. We can live our vision. We can do what we're meant to do, what we're here for. And you definitely are one human being that does exactly that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Shauli. And it was so good to see you, and see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just stay on for a bit.
Okay.